welcome to Little Gardeners. Hope you'll join us today. Hi everybody! Thanks so much for joining me today. It's Friday morning and it's Little Gardeners Day, and my name's Miss Cheryl, and let's go ahead and get started. As you can tell, I'm not at home right now. I am here in the garden, and when I'm here I like to kind of imagine you all around me asking me whether you could take a watering can and asking if we could go to the shed and get our shovels and start digging in the dirt. I missed you guys so much. Well, let's go ahead and start with a song. With this song that we're going to do right now, we don't need rhythm sticks. We don't even really need wooden spoons. We could just use our hands. I'm going to use my hands today. If you want to use wooden spoons, go run to the kitchen and get some, okay? This is the building a house song. Let's do it. You hear that? That's a shovel
Hey,
sound.
Janice, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm building my house, Donnie, and it's a great big job.
turn it down.
Want to help?
Sure.
Ready how to sing
Hey, Steven,
it?
you
You
want to help
remember?
too? Sure, I'd love to help. Great.
When I build my house,
When I build my house,
I'll need some wood.
I'll need some wood.
And I'll saw the wood.
And I'll saw the wood like
when I
this.
build my house.
When I build my house, I will saw the wood, saw the wood, saw the wood. When I build my house, when I build my house, there's so much to do. It's nice when you come along and help me too. Do you remember this is how you say help in sign language? Help.
When I build my house,
When I build my house,
I'll need some nails.
I'll need some nails.
And I'll hammer the nails.
And I'll hammer the nails.
When I build my house.
When I build my house, I will hammer the nails, hammer the nails, hammer the nails. When I build my house, saw the wood. Did you remember?
Saw the wood.
Saw the wood. When I build my house, when I build my house, there's so much to do. It's nice when you come along and help me too. What comes next?
When I build my house.
When I build my house,
I'll need some bricks.
I'll need some bricks. This is
and
my
I'll
favorite.
lay the bricks.
And I'll lay the bricks.
When I build my house.
When I build my house, I will lay the bricks, lay the bricks, lay the bricks. When I build my house, hammer the nails, hammer the nails, hammer the nails. When I build my house, saw the wood, saw the wood, saw the wood. When I build my house, when I build my house, there's so much to do. It's nice when you come along and help me too. What comes last?
When I build my house.
When I build my house,
I'll need some paint.
okay, stir it up.
And I'll paint the walls.
And I'll paint the walls.
When I build my house.
When I build my house, what color is it gonna be? I will paint the walls, paint the walls, paint the walls. When I build my house, lay the bricks, lay the bricks, lay the bricks. When I build my house, hammer the nails, hammer the nails, hammer the nails. When I build my house, saw the wood, saw the wood, saw the wood. When I build my house, when I build my house, there's so much to do. It's nice when you come along and help me too.
And when I'm through.
When I'm through, we're gonna go inside. I'll go inside.
And I'll look with pride.
And I'll look with pride
at the work I've done.
at the work we've done. We worked together, right? Look at this house we built.
what
I
I
love
did.
it. What did we do?
I
Painted the walls. We painted the walls. Painted the walls when I built my house. Laid the bricks. Laid the bricks. Laid the bricks when I built my house. Hammer the nails. Hammer the nails. Hammer the nails when I built my house. Saw the wood. Saw the wood. Saw the wood when I built my house. When I built my house, there was much to do.
thank you for helping me build
That was a
my
lot of
house.
work.
You're welcome.
It was nice that you came along and helped me too. Yay, that was really good. Whew. That was a lot of work for this early in the morning, wasn't it? Nice job, boys and girls. Hi, I wanted to show you this beautiful sunflower head that has already had its moment where it was really looking beautiful in this, it was up nice and straight with its beautiful petals, and now it's finished. It's finished blooming. This particular one is called a mammoth sunflower. Mammoth as in huge, and it really is so huge. It's way taller than I am. So what's really cool about this one too is that it grew so tall that I am using it as a trellis for my tomato plant. It's like a natural trellis for my tomato. And I hope I get tomatoes before it gets too cold for them to grow. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cut off this big flower head, and we're going to look at how amazing and beautiful it looks. You know what's funny about standing underneath is it almost looks like one of those big fancy shower heads, and I could stand under it and the water would come out. But let's go ahead and cut it and let's check it out. Let's see. See if I can do this. Oh, it's so tall. Let's see. Come on, baby. It's gonna take a little bit of work. Here we go. There. All right. Oh, it's heavy. Look at this, you guys. How amazing is that? Isn't that just so huge? And I must say, it's kind of heavy. I even think the back of it is just beautiful to look at. Look at that. Look at how cool that is. Have you ever noticed the back of a flower and the interesting texture that you see? Look at how big this is even compared to my face. It's really pretty amazing. I remember the first time I grew a sunflower. Look at the petals are all dried up here along the edge. The petals are just all withering away. The first time I grew sunflowers, I looked at the dried flower head and I thought, where are the seeds? And I realized that what I see these are called pollen tubes all along here. So we usually think of a sunflower as one big flower, but it's just filled with little teeny tiny flowers all throughout. Can you see those little tiny flowers all in there? And those are all dried up too. So in order to see the seeds, you have to take your fingers, kind of rub all of those off. Look at that. I must say it's kind of fun to do. Look at that. And can you see where the seeds are now? See, they're all layered in there, tightly packed. There are all the sunflower seeds. And some people like to pick out all the seeds and toast them and eat them. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave them out for the birds, because that would be a nice little snack for the birds in the wintertime. Oops, I see some seeds starting to pop out as well. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I just think it's amazing to look at. Isn't nature just incredible? That's what I think of when I see this. So now what I want to do, I'm just going to show you, that I could kind of pick out the seeds if I wanted to, like that. And I could take some, and which I think I will. Maybe I'll save about 20 of them for planting when the weather warms up in the springtime or the summer. But I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's just so magnificent. A mammoth sunflower head. Isn't that crazy? And then I can go ahead and just leave the stalk of it, and it can continue to be something that my tomato plant can be. It can train it to use kind of as a trellis. What do you think of that? Isn't that pretty spectacular? I'd like to share with you a book called Santa's Favorite Story. This is by Hisako Aoki and Ivan Gonchev. And one of the things that I love about this time of year is that I get to look into my stash of Christmas stories, and I get to read those stories that I only enjoy at this time of year. It makes them so special to me, and I hope you like it as much as I do. As I'm looking at the cover of this book, I see that Santa Claus is leaning up against a tree, and it looks like he's taking a nap. And do you see the animal right behind the tree? Do you know what kind of animal that might be? He's kind of red and he has a big bushy tail and he has a pointy nose. I think that's a fox. It makes me wonder, why is Santa Claus taking a nap? Doesn't he have a lot of work to do? Let's see. One cold day in December, a fox was walking in the forest, and as he looked at the snowy trees, he remembered that it would soon be Christmas, and then he heard something. He sniffed the air and he looked around. Do you notice it as I'm reading? If I sniff the air right now, I could smell rain in the air, and little droplets are coming down from the sky. I like to be in the garden when it's starting to drizzle. Do you like it when it rains? There, fast asleep against a tree, was Santa Claus. He was snoring. Can you make a snoring sound? Oh my goodness, thought the fox. Santa Claus has come early this year. I better go and tell everyone he's here. So he hurried off to tell all the other animals that lived in the forest. There he is. That's just like the cover of the book, isn't it? When they heard the news, the animals hopped and ran and scampered and flew to the tree. A squirrel chattered excitedly, and Santa Claus slowly stretched, yawned like this, and then opened his eyes to see the faces of a dozen little creatures. "Why are you here?" they asked him. Is Christmas going to be early this year?" asked the fox. "I'm sorry if I worried you, my friend," said Santa. "I went for a long hike this morning to get in shape for Christmas Eve. But I guess I walked until I got too tired. Maybe all those heavy presents will be too much for me to deliver this year." The animals looked alarmed. "Does that mean that there won't be Christmas anymore?" asked the fox. No, said Santa in a kindly voice. "Christmas hasn't got anything to do with me. Sit down and I'll tell you all the story of the first Christmas." It happened long, long ago in a faraway place called Bethlehem. Some shepherds were watching over their sheep in the fields outside the town. It was very quiet and still. Look at these beautiful pictures. Makes me want to take out some watercolors. Suddenly, a beautiful bright star appeared in the sky. The shepherds heard a voice saying, "Do not be afraid, I have good news for you all. Today in the town of Bethlehem, the Christ child has been born. God has sent his son to show what God's love is like. Follow the star to his stable." The shepherds followed the star over hills and through valleys, across bridges and past little villages. Look at all the animals who are coming with them. All the while, the star shone brighter and brighter until at last it stopped above a small stable. The shepherds and their sheep stopped too, for there in the stable was a baby lying in a manger. The shepherds knew that this was the Son of God, and they knelt down and they prayed. Look at, there's the stable and there's the star shining so brightly it almost looks like a sun. And this is what happened in Bethlehem when the Christ child came. It's my favorite story because it reminds me why we are so happy at this time of the year. Love was the gift God gave to us on the first Christmas, and it still is, you know. And this love is far better than any presents I could ever deliver. Santa Claus put his hands in his pockets and looked slowly around the circle of animals with a kind and happy smile upon his face. "How silly we've been," said the fox, "to think that Christmas was only about presents." "So now you know," said Santa. "But come on, you're right that it's almost Christmas, so let's go back to my place and get things ready." All the animals followed as Santa Claus ran off towards his house. He didn't even look tired anymore because he had remembered how much fun his work was going to be. Wow, look at this beautiful snowy scene. Have you ever been in the snow? You need the clothes that are just right for the snow, huh? Otherwise it's too cold. The animals stayed at Santa's house until Christmas Day and helped him every way that they could. Of course, the reindeer helped by going out with him to deliver the presents the night before. And after a fine Christmas dinner, Santa gave every animal a present. And as they sat around the fireplace later in the day, they all asked to hear Santa's favorite story again. It was a very special Christmas day for everyone. Santa was sure that he had the nicest time of all though, because he remembered that the best present ever is Christmas itself. The end. Isn't that a beautiful story? I just love this one. Do you remember over the summer, I think it was in July and August, where I talked about the Great TLC Pumpkin Growing Contest? Well, I started growing my pumpkin too, but my pumpkin wasn't even close to being ready at the time when the judging took place. So there was a contest late October, and it's December and my pumpkin has just been growing. So I wanted to show you the biggest one that I have right now. Here it is right here, and I'm gonna cut it off so I could show you. It turned orange, and oh, it's kind of moldy on the bottom, but it looks kind of pretty overall. I don't know, it's just stopped growing. Maybe that's why, because, you know, it was just fully grown, I guess, but it looks kind of pretty. I was thinking of maybe using it to make something or bake a pie, but I don't know, I'll have to cut it off and see how it looks on the inside. So there's my pumpkin, better late than never. But I wanted to show you some flowers that I have growing on this long, sprawling pumpkin vine. And I wanted to show you something funny. Did you know that flowers can be either male or female flowers? That there are boy flowers and girl flowers? It's true. So look at this one right here. See how this flower has the little nub right there at its base? That is the pumpkin that's just starting to grow. That one is a female flower or a girl flower. This one right here, see how these have no little nub? It's just straight and long and lean. That one is a boy flower. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Let's look at one more over here and you could tell me whether you think it's a male flower or a female flower. Look at this one. What do you think? Is that a boy or a girl flower? It's a girl flower because there's a little tiny pumpkin growing. Isn't that interesting? Maybe you could look through the garden here in the community garden and you could look and see if you could find boy flowers and girl flowers too. Did you grow a pumpkin as well? That's fun, isn't it? That's my December pumpkin. Let's work on a project now. All right, now what I have is a pine cone that I found in the canyon, and we're gonna look at something that I've made in a previous Little Gardeners lesson. Let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to show you what I did with my cinnamon clay that we made in a previous Little Gardeners episode. Do you remember when we did this? It involved, I think it was a cup of cinnamon, some applesauce, and some white Elmer's glue. My daughters kept looking at these sitting on the cooling rack and they were thinking that they were cookies. My daughter Natalie said, I cannot wait to eat those. But these have glue in them, so they look like gingerbread cookies, but they last forever. And they have a really nice cinnamon scent. So what I did is I put them on a garland with some dried oranges and dried lemons, and I thought you can help me figure out what goes next in my little pattern. So I have an orange slice and a squirrel and an orange and a squirrel, an orange, a squirrel, an orange. What comes next? What do you think? When you go to kindergarten, they actually assign letters to the pattern. So this would be called an A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Next comes a squirrel, right? So what I do is I just took some cotton thread and I just have a little blunt needle like this. And next comes the squirrel, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and just put the needle through. And I kind of wrap it around his tail a little bit so that he doesn't slide. Oops, I did it the wrong way. Like this, and then through the tail again, like that. So look at that. That's from the project that we did last week, but that's what I did with my squirrels, and I really like the way the light shines through the citrus, whether it's lemons or oranges or limes. I could also tell you, you could look up on the internet how to dry these in your oven. But an aside. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to decorate pine cones because I just love the shape of pine cones so much. There's so many things that you could do with them. It just seems like I could do a whole year of little gardeners projects that only have to do with pine cones. This one, I took a piece of thread and ahead of time I did take some hot glue and I adhered this with a hot glue gun. That is a grown-up job. Next I just took a bunch of pom-poms. Look at so many big pom-poms, but for this project we need little tiny pom-poms and some glue. So I think I'm going to do this first. I am going to take my white glue and I'm just going to put a little, come on glue, a little glob of glue on my pine cone, and then real easily I'm just going to pop them in there. So it's almost going to be like a Christmas tree with ornaments. That's what I want it to look like. But because I have the string hanging from the bottom of it, it's going to kind of hang upside down. That's how I wanted my pine cone to go. So I'm just putting it in there, and it's going to take a little while for that to dry. I'll just put it on the counter or maybe even outside for the glue to dry. But this is a really fun project for kids of all ages because they could just go for it and just work on, as long as you have some little pom-poms, they are good to go for a while. It's a real simple project. You could even put some white glue in on a little paper plate and they could just go dip and then put it in there. You know what else this needs, in my opinion? Glitter. It needs some glitter, so I am going to do this. I think I'm going to take these off because I don't want them to get glue on them. Now it's time for me. Look at that. Did you notice what just happened? That's a little seed that came out of the pine cone. Do you remember that project that we did 2 weeks ago where it shows, where we saw how pine cones actually can take in the information about the humidity and the temperature outside? And when it's cold and wet and rainy, they close up like an umbrella. And when it's warm and these seeds can kind of float in the breeze and find a place to grow, then it opens up like this. Pine cones are so smart, aren't they? All right, so I'm gonna go like this. I like to play with glitter, do you? I'm gonna go like this, and I could even put it all over those little pieces of the pine cone that jut out. Now I take the glitter. Look at how pretty that glitter is. Isn't that gorgeous? And I'm gonna take it and I'm going to shake it like some Parmesan. Whoa, it's kind of floating in the breeze right now. Come on. Oh my gosh, I love how that looks. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? It almost looks like a tree that's been like dusted by snow. So then you can go ahead and just put some more glue all over wherever you want glitter to go. And then just add some more glitter. And if some comes onto your plate, you can just kind of reuse it. And you can make a really beautiful, really pretty ornament. So I guess the reason why mine is upside down, because then it makes such a nice ornament that you could hang from the tree. And you could give these as gifts as well, right? Wouldn't that be a nice gift for somebody? You could even put it on a neighbor's doorstep, wrap it up in some tissue paper, add a little card. Oh, pine cones are really beautiful for adding glitter and pom-poms. Why don't you guys give it a try? It's really fun. Let's go ahead and do our goodbye prayer and our goodbye song, okay? For the goodbye prayer, I wanted to read a poem that is from this book called Heart Songs. And you know where I got this book? From the free library a couple weeks ago. There's some really good books in that free library here at the community garden. You should check it out. There's actually 2 here on the TLC campus for you to look through. And you could always, if you go through your book collection, maybe you want to share some of the books that you no longer enjoy. You could put those in the free library and then get a couple to take home. This one is called The Gift of Color, and it says, "Thank you for all the colors of the rainbow. Thank you for sharing these colors with all the fish and all the birds and all of the flowers that you've given us. And thank you for the colors of the heaven and the earth and of the heaven and the sky, and for sharing these colors in the people of the world. You give us color as a gift, God, and I thank you for all of these beautiful colors and beautiful things and beautiful people. What special gifts you have given us. Amen. I like that poem called The Gift of Color. All right, are you ready for the goodbye song? Usually we stand up to do this song, but I'm gonna do it like this. If you wanna stand up for the goodbye song, go ahead and do that. Ready? Clap your hands, stomp your feet. It is time to say goodbye to all my friends. Do we have to say goodbye? It is time to say goodbye to all my friends.